Welcome back, welcome back. Today, I would like to hopefully show you a very valuable lesson that I had to learn at a very early age. And as I found the Most High and chose to do the learning, but I didn't have the book yet. I only knew of what was good because I wrote down everything I knew to be good. Simple things. Very simple. Don't lie. Don't steal. Tell people the truth. Accept when people tell you the truth. Examine it. See if it is the truth. And if it is, do something about it. So I did the work that I figured out, and I was rewarded by my father, and I met the second love of my life. And she gave me the power of YouTube. And she was a very, very loving person, but never fully emerged out of her shell because of past situations with men, first of all, and family, I would say, I guess. But I loved her a lot because she gifted me with the key to knowledge, the internet. Once I had access to unlimited knowledge, I said, okay, here we go. Let's see where we go with this. And I started with learning things that I already previously liked in my life that I could never know about, could never learn because I was out of high school now. I'm never going to college because I don't have $140,000 and all that. So I said, you know what? Well, I like it and I can sure learn it on my own, even if I never do it. I like it and I'm gonna learn it. And then when I quit, I'll know I didn't like it that much. Oh, I thought I liked many things. But my father said, when you become a man, you'll have to put down your boyish ways and your childish things. So, as I began to realize what was really important to myself, him, and trying to find myself because of going through so much damage over my younger years and not being able to take my journey as a young man with growing and being taught the law and being shown these things. It takes you on a journey that shapes a boy into a man. Even if he's not a man yet, he will have the foundation at least to begin his own journey. And if he don't want to follow the Most High no more, so what? At least he got a foundation to stand on, for crying out loud, or a set of morals, a set of guidelines, something. Now, as I began to take interest in her, I found out that she was a Leo. And it was weird because I was an Aquarius. And I thought I didn't like Leos because my older brother's a Leo. And he's kind of an asshole. But There's just something about him though. He got like this lore. Like Leos have like this. I don't know what it is. I guess because they're a fire sign, and then a lion is like the king of the jungle, so they must have some type of automatic leadership quality in them if they learn to bring it out. Like many people have attributes from your sign. Now, I'm not saying go read a horoscope, fucking play with tarot readings or nothing like that, because like I said, without wisdom, without the Most High, you're gonna put a spirit on yourself and you're done. So do as I say, not as I do, for you don't have him. And anyway, she liked cartoons that I used to like back in the day. So we used to talk about these things like, yo, I used to like this one, and you like that one too. Who was your favorite character? My favorite character. You know what I mean? Things like that. So as we began to understand that we have all these different things in common and shit, I said, yo, let's watch some of them, see what we see now that we're older and stuff. Cause we were into a lot of like looking up things and finding out like cartoons had higher meanings in them, like jokes for adults, but they're cartoons, so they put it in a way that only an adult will understand directly, but a kid's not going to. But it still stays in that kid's mind, so that's not a good thing. Um, and we began to watch this one cartoon called The Avatar. For some reason, I was drawn to this cartoon like peanut butter and jelly. It just flies to shit. A moth to a flame. Soon as I seen it, I said, "What is that?" And I am a grown ass man, 20 something years old now. I don't think the Most High wants me to be watching cartoons. I thought I gotta put down these childish things. So, I had a lot of time on my hands because I was on probation. I got locked up. And I didn't get the. Well, luckily, I was good my whole life. And, when you know the law, it helps. And, luckily, my prosecutor, not the defender that when it helps you, no, my prosecutor made sure I didn't go to jail. Figure that out. Now, as we explored this cartoon, it just unloaded on me all this information about spirituality and history and different nations of people and all this shit it has in this cartoon. So I said, ooh, I've only lived in my small 3 mile town my whole life. I like this cartoon. It's kind of older, but it's mature. So I start watching it and I learn about it, and it's called The Last Airbender. Avatar: The Last Airbender, yeah. So it just had a lot of great things in it that I learned. And when I watched it with her, I absorbed it one way, and it was so good that I would watch certain things about it, like favorite scenes or certain lessons, because it gives lessons through the whole show. The whole show always drops a lesson. You will learn something every single episode. It's impossible not to learn something, and if it is, you're pray, 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 because it's a kids cartoon. So when I left finally, and the Most High freed me from my town, and I started to be around the First Nation of people, white people, Caucasians or whatever. Like I've already grew up in my town, all nations were there, but I never grew up where one people were predominantly. So when I went to PA, I was finally like, you walk a couple of miles and you're the only black guy there, or maybe one or two of you in that little town, but that's it. You either know each other or you don't. Now, as in my days of PA, I was living above a bar. I didn't really have electricity in my house. It was like literally a shit show in there. This place that I live in is way better than that. Smaller, but hey, I got heat, electricity, a shower that works, a microwave and a refrigerator. I got a bike I can go to work with. Oh God, it was like camping every day over there. So, since she blessed me with the power of knowing about YouTube, you can look up anything. I would look up the Avatar show and watch it on my phone and shit, and like remember the days me and her used to watch it, and call her and be like, hey, did you ever remember this episode? And we used to stay in contact for years after our relationship. I wish we still did, but I kind of fucked it up because I was learning the law and I was on my Jacob Vegeta mode. So she wasn't ready for that, and I didn't know how to be the pressure, the Levi. I didn't learn those things yet. I was on attack mode with the book. That was my sword. I was slashing everybody down. Oh, you a sinner? Well, you gonna get. I didn't care who you was. I stood in front of people that I know for a fact wanted to punch me in the face, and I would smite them with the word. And be afraid they would do something, but, you know. So what? What, you gonna beat me up for telling you the truth? My blood will go away, the bruises will go away. What I said to you will never leave you. I will forever wound you. Until you heal yourself and do something about it. That's why I love my father. He's given me a sword that no one even realizes that I have until I start swinging that thing at him. Now let's not turn up. Let's get to the meat. Now, I said all that so I can play this. Because this character helped me understand what I did when I was a teenager. And it made me compel to go forward even more. Because I knew I made the right choice then, and I didn't even know the Most High. I didn't know anything about the Bible. I didn't know anything about this cartoon. It was just me and what truths my grandmother taught me, my mom taught me, my brothers, everyone that I've ever learned. Because I've learned the truth from everyone. Everyone's shown me something. And everyone showed me bad shit too. But the truths, I absorb that. And it stays with me forever. And that person will always be with me. Even if I hate you. Once I think of the truth that you showed me, well, I gotta think about the person that fucking showed me it, unfortunately. But I know my father works through you people, so I always just give the credit to him and I can just put you out of my mind. Anyway, this should help anyone that is having trouble with walking towards the Most High. And I know there's many different reasons. This person's reason may be different from your reason, but they're all the same reason. You choose the world over him. You choose the world over getting the truth. So he sent me to give you this work. You're lucky Vegeta mode ain't on. And this guy's gonna even show his love for this.
Even though I've seen Avatar: The Last Airbender a long time ago, the sense of adventure, the connection with the characters, and the whole world created by that show still comes to visit me in seemingly random moments of nostalgia. I've seen many animes, many cartoons, and many movies, but if I had to pick the best character development story out of them all, it would have to be Zuko, the
Yes.
Prince of the Fire Nation from Avatar. He also happens to be the character I'm most connected with as a teenager.
Prince Zuko is also Prince Vegeta. When I figured out to combine both their stories, oh, I was a man on fire.
When I first watched the show, much like me back then, Zuko is still just a teenager, but he is also the son and heir to the Fire Lord Ozai, one of the most powerful men in the world. As the series begins, it is easy to mistake him for a typical villain, as many of his underlying motivations are left unknown. However, even in the first episode, the writers do give us an insight into his motivations. He's trying to capture the Avatar to restore his honor.
Because their honor didn't hinge on the Avatar's capture. Mine does.
He's not hunting down the main protagonist of the show just for evil's sake. He actually has reasons behind it. And so he's established as a character who greatly values pride and honor. Only later on do we learn that he wasn't always interested in capturing the Avatar, and that there's a deeper story behind it. He was challenged to a duel by his own father after he unintentionally disrespected him. However, he refused to fight, and the Fire Lord took this as a shameful act. He banished Zuko from the Fire Nation and left a permanent reminder of the shame he brought upon himself by burning the left side of his face and leaving a scar. The only way he's allowed to return and regain his honor is by capturing the Avatar, the master of all four elements, and the only person who could potentially stop the Fire Nation from winning the war. As a result, Zuko feels like an outcast and carries a lot of shame for being banished. And even though he believes his biggest battle to come is with the Avatar, little does he know that the real battle he will have to fight is the one within his heart.
Great MGTOW.
To me, the story of Zuko
Great
is not
Jedi.
one about regaining honor. I would argue that his story is about learning to accept yourself and following your own path in life, whatever it may be. Zuko struggles with this as he keeps seeking approval and acceptance from his father. He desperately keeps trying to be the son that his father wants him to be. Thankfully, he's not completely alone in this journey and has his uncle Iroh come with him. Iroh plays a crucial role in helping Zuko find his way as he keeps teaching him philosophy and
For me, Iroh was every adult that taught me anything important. I had many Irohs, but never was allowed to actually have them accompany me on my journeys or actually live with them long enough or be around them when I actually had intelligence. They only had me for short periods of time and stuff. So I had to absorb this shit fast, and I had to say, your ass is going to be an adult soon, and you're never going to see these people probably, so you better pay attention because you are on your own. And I'm talking about as a kid, before the shit happened.
in many ways becomes a new father figure to him that he can look up to. The dynamic between Zuko and
My first Iroh was my grandmother, but my second Iroh was I think it was the 6th to 8th grade teacher, and 1 year in high school, she transferred up there. Miss Coburn, the wisest woman and the last real teacher ever. There's only a few, and I'm sure there are more left, but in my era, she was the only teacher in the entire world that I ever met that was really a teacher and got shit on the whole time.
his uncle in some ways reminds me of Dan Millman and his mentor Socrates from the movie The Peaceful Warrior. Dan is an Olympic gymnast and is driven by the sole purpose of winning gold. He feels unhappy, empty, and lost, but believes that if he could only get that gold, if he could only win, then all his problems would go away. Then he could be happy. Much like Zuko believes that catching the Avatar holds the key in resolving his internal conflicts, that it will allow him to return home with pride and have his father accept him.
There's no honor for me without the Avatar.
Zuko, even if you did capture the Avatar, I'm not so sure it would solve our problems. Not now.
And there is no hope at all.
No, Zuko. You must never give in to despair. Allow yourself to slip down that road and you surrender to your lowest instincts. In the darkest times, hope is something you give yourself. That is the meaning of inner strength.
Yes.
Travel around the world, chasing the Avatar, Zuko gets to meet people from other nations. He gets to see their points of view. He gets to experience firsthand what the war that his father started has done, which helps him begin piecing together bits and pieces of his own path.
Now, when I seen that with my girlfriend, she didn't understand why I left her. And she never understood why I was so adamant and why I did what I did to end our relationship. I never wanted to end our relationship. But I knew if I didn't do what I did, I would always go back to her and I would not go towards God. And I said, I have to fucking stop myself. So I said, there's only one way out of this.
Not the one that has been given to him by birth.
I know my own destiny, Uncle.
Is it your own destiny? Or is it a destiny someone else has tried to force on you?
Stop it, Uncle. I have to do this.
I'm begging you, Prince Zuko. It's time for you to look inward and begin asking yourself the big questions. Who are you? And what do you want?
Thank you for telling me, Most High.
But it still takes one final push to make him go over the edge.
Yes.
After he almost seems to be over the idea that catching the Avatar will solve his problems, he gives in to temptation one last time and manages to corner him with the help of his sister Azula. However, he does this by betraying the only person who has truly cared for him and looked after him in his banishment, his Uncle Iroh. He finally gets to come back home, believing that the Avatar is dead, and gets his life back as the Prince of the Fire Nation. But all the happiness and honor that he thought would come from this never showed. He still feels the same emptiness that is now filled only by anger. During this time, he keeps visiting his uncle in prison, who is now considered a traitor to the Fire Nation. Zuko repeatedly lashes out at him and blames him in what is simply misguided anger, while his uncle just remains silent. But it doesn't take him long to figure out that the one he's truly angry at is himself. And eventually he does decide that he has had enough. What follows is the most satisfying character transformation you're ever likely to experience. Someone who sought approval from his father his whole life. Someone who gave his best to play along with the destiny that was forced on him, finally lets it all go and takes a step on his own path. He tells his father he's leaving and that he's going to help the Avatar to restore balance. This time he really is on his own. He's once again not welcome at the Fire Nation. He's hated by the Avatar and his friends because of years of trying to catch him. And now he doesn't even have his uncle by his side. When he finally approaches the Avatar in an attempt to help him, he's met with understandable hostility, distrust, and rejection. As someone who has led so much of his life with a big emphasis on pride and shame, he finally shows true humility. He keeps trying to prove himself to the Avatar, despite being rejected again and again. Eventually, his honesty does get through, and he gets a chance to show just how much he's changed by becoming Avatar's firebending teacher. But there is still something left that he is ashamed of, and that is how he betrayed his uncle after all he's done for him. The moment when he finally meets him again is by far one of the most heartwarming moments in the show. are many lessons to take away from Zuko, not the least of which is to stop seeking approval from other people. Instead, we must learn to accept ourselves and to do what we think is right for us, even if that means going against the people we look up to. Seeing Zuko grow and change this much really touched me. Back then I also felt lost and unhappy. He gave me hope for the future, that no matter how lost you think you are, or how much conflict is in your heart, you can always find your way to a better place.
That was very good. It reminds me of the Dragon Ball Z series. In Dragon Ball Z, Goku only got so strong and only had so many friends because he defeated his enemies and didn't kill them. He could have. The ones that were too crazy and wouldn't stop, he finished them dudes. But the ones that, when he took them down and was like, "Oh, I don't want to do this," they stopped. He always offered them a chance to get back down and be like, "Yo, get down, y'all. I told you to stop in the beginning that we should team up. There are greater foes out there than you and me, and we should do something." So it's time.
Those that hold to light, those that cling to dark, all are kindred within the Force. I do what I must to maintain the balance.